give an early big picture of what the European area was like. A lot of people have the information that they thought the immigration was started in Alsace-Lorraine. And Alsace-Lorraine is that highlighted area there in the yellow. And it turns out that, and my dad thought that the immigrants were from Alsace-Lorraine, but it turns out that that was only a path for mostly for those that were leaving Germany illegally to leave Germany. And I have information that they went through that without permission to immigrate. They went through Alsace-Lorraine to the Port of Le Havre, which I believe is up there at the top of France. I'm not sure where the border is of Belgium and the Netherlands here, but it must be over there to the other side of other side of Belgium. France kind of tailors off here. Anyway, they had to have Port of Le Havre somewhere up there in the North Sea. Maybe I should do research there. And the records for signing papers for intention to become a citizen of the United States record that John was from the Hesse-Darmstadt region of Germany. And that's west of the Rhine River. And it's all wine country out in that area. Now, if you want to go to the colored map. Now, this is a kind of a big picture. Shows where Mines is, and much of the information I got was through the good work of a history professor at Mines University, and he himself. Now you can move it up a little. He himself lived in Alzey there on the left-hand side, and the blue circles, one was Hochport, and the other one's Frettenheim. And apparently John had lived in Frettenheim one time. Most of the birth records show what used to be Bludesheim, which is now Hochborn, show that as their place of residence. But some of the records of his real estate property reflect that he's probably in the Frettenheim area. And many of the records that I got came from the District Record Center of Westhoffen. And that's where I got on the trip that we had. And this is a little bit where we're at here, down a little bit. Of course, why don't you shrink it a little bit more? What are you at? 75, make it about, see what 50% brings up. 25. Okay. Now, Alzey is up here. There's a little more modern map. Alzey is up here. That's where the German history professor lived. And in my correspondence with him, he told me he used to bike through Hochport. He knew that there was a Floersch that lived there. And this was the time frame when I was talking to him, probably about 1999 time frame, 98, 99. And so he's the one that gave me the name of Hochport, being the place where John used to live. And down here you'll see Westhoffen. Here's Easthoffen, or Osthoffen, call it Westhoffen. Westhoffen is where I got the birth record. And that Alzey, as you saw from the other map, was just almost directly south of mine. Okay, we can go back to what we're going to do here. Okay, these following slides are information that we got when I got the birth records and the marriage record of John and Elizabeth from the Westhoffen Record Center. And so this gives the information that we got from some of the birth record. And the marriage record I had translated, and it's line for line, German with the equivalent English under it, so anybody can read that for themselves. Similarly, I had translated Matthias's and Michael's records. I didn't bother translating the others, but I've highlighted in those files significant things that keep repeating in these records. It's kind of word for word in a lot of them. But here, for a line of German, I had the line of English put right under it so that people could follow through that. Can you scroll, before you leave that, can you scroll over to the left-hand side there? Somewhere in here, yeah, I've got, I explained that these are believed to be the record, you never can tell. But somewhere in here I've got a sidebar, that talks about the French calendar and the Gregorian calendar, and how through a file that a Jesuit friend of mine gave me, I was able to translate from the French Revolutionary records to the Gregorian to get the dates that most of us would understand. And slide that. But anyway, I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time on this, other than to explain, if they want to read them, the information that's there. Okay, this is the painting of the ship that, according to this information from the ship's book that was in the library, that ship was struggling to get in a storm to get into the port of Le Havre, and that was in 1843, and that was the same year that Johann Floersch had boarded that ship and ended up in New Orleans. The ship was built in Maine, and contrary to what the book was saying, that it was built in 1828, it was 1838 that it was built at Bath, Maine. And some of what follows here is registries. The ship had to be registered every time the ownership changed, and the first registry, of course, is a temporary one, because that was one that was issued just after it was built. So you can page up, and why don't we go on to the one that was the ship's passenger list, and through whatever it is there, 74th passengers on that ship, and it gives their age and place of origin, and the rest of this is, you can just scroll right on through that. Can we scroll down? I think down. Yeah, this is a picture of what Port New Orleans looked like back in the days, and this is a picture of what they called a steerage compartment in a typical ship like that. And these were the conditions that these people lived in for that trip, which I've been told would have been, in that time frame, would have been, unless there was a storm, would have been probably a 30-day, 45-day sailing trip from across the ocean. And if you go on down, this is the handwritten one. I think I've typed one that Claire makes over here. Here you can read. I just made that so that people could read it without having to struggle with trying to translate the writing, and it describes the ship. And the rest of these are registrations that I was looking for, the registration for the year that 1843, and who owned that boat in 1843, but it turns out that particular one was destroyed in a fire, so I never was able to find that. And I was looking for possible source for the ship's log for that particular ship trip, and unfortunately that was the ship's registration that was lost in the fire. So these are just additional registrations showed every time it changed the ownership. And the last information I have, which is not in this because I got that and marked so that people can get a sense of relative to the French Revolution, where people were born, and relative to our own American Revolution, what things preceded that. And these are just kind of a historical timeline showing the growth of the family of John in Platte County, Missouri. And it was from 1854 then that Michael migrated to homestead in Kansas after Kansas and Nebraska were opened up for homesteading in the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and how he and some of the 4 or 5 others from apparently were friends in this area that went on to past St. Mary's and homesteaded out in what's now Flush. And I can talk about the book that Father Wheeler wrote. There's a whole history written on Flush that talks about these early immigrants and homesteaders. And I don't know beyond that what up there it tells about how Elizabeth sold the farm for $600 to a guy by the name of John Pitt, who's probably a pro-slavery guy, because it indicated in that write-up about the halfway house, it indicated that it eventually went back to being owned by slave owners. That was probably one of the things that ticked those people off the most, is that he was anti-slavery and he didn't have slave sales there anymore, slave auctions there anymore, and didn't cater to that. So where do we go from here?
We can go to.
And this is his house. And when we got there, we parked our rental car here and never moved it until we left. Because he was taking us around all these little German villages and feeding us. We'd have dinner there, but he wouldn't let me pay for it. One night he let me pay for him. And this is his Barry and his wife. They were great dancers. And this is a picture showing this. I believe this is the house of Jacob Floersch after it had been remodeled. You can scroll down to see if I have a tag. Jacob was the one that was still living there, and he was retired, but he was probably in his late 60s. Seemed to be, fairly healthy, and he was one that attended this wine and cheese party that our host arranged for us at this Dilo winery. And these are just some pictures of the different streets. Somewhere in here are pictures of Jacob Floersch, Jacob that lives there. Yeah, there's the Hope for sign, and kind of shows the narrow seats and streets and so forth. This is just kind of a garden patch. And Barry sent me all these photos. He had gone out and taken. Somewhere in here, there's a picture of his house in the wintertime and another one in the summertime.
Yeah.
So it shows the.
Here's the original house, and here's just in winter.
Yeah, there's the winter scene and the summer scene.
Here's Jacob, right? Isn't that Jacob? Yes.
Yeah, well, the Jacob house is down here. This is Morton and his wife, and Jacob's house is here. That's after it was remodeled. Before it was remodeled, it showed some more doors down here, and I'm not sure if that's the next slide or not, but I guess it's not. I didn't have the before and after together. So now you can go to the graveyard.
Okay.
And I wandered through there, and I took some video too of that. Where the GEB is an abbreviation for geboren, and GST is abbreviation for the term indicating death, so that people, when they read anything, if they can read anything, this was let's see, it was Peter Floersch III. Peter Floersch III was one that was signed as the power of attorney for John when they were getting ready to leave after they'd sold their property and were getting ready to leave Germany. And this is the information that I got from this history professor from Mainz, and here. I think because of the dates on that, I think that he might have been John's younger brother. I just posed it as a question. I don't know that for sure. Somebody wants to go over and dig his grave up and do a DNA. And there's a number of stones that I took pictures of, like here's in Elizabeth. That was apparently a very popular name in Germany in that time frame. John was too. And see at the bottom, there's probably a label that, Elizabeth, what did that say, spouse of Peter Floersch III?
Yes, the wife of Peter Floersch.
Wife of, Elizabeth.
And we saw Peter the third above. So.
Yeah, okay. And Elizabeth Floersch. Now, this one's a little easier to read. Don't know anything about who these were, but because the name Floersch was on there, we don't know what the relationship was. Anna Floersch, again, don't know what the relationship is there.
Another
Elizabeth, apparently never married.
Yeah.
Relationship unknown. Now these could have been siblings of John. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The ones with the last Floersch. Okay, we can go back to where we're going to go from here.
Well,
we covered ships. Just within months after he got to New Orleans, it was 23rd of October, following 10th of October arrival in New Orleans, and Jacob purchases the land in a plot in Weston, and John's promissory note to pay Lorenzo Bird was a lawyer. Donovan was probably one of the more prominent names he's also on the signatory list of asking for pardon, and so this just kind of indicates some of the transactions involved in John sells his property to Peter, and then later I have record of Peter selling. John Floersch mortgages his farm to the lawyer. Alexander Donovan. And Peter purchases a lot. This is another lot in Weston, I think, and paid $400 for it. Elizabeth sells the land, which was, this gives the legal description, Southwest Quarter, Section 21, Township 53. That's the way they describe the plots, the farm property. And Peter mortgaged the land. I don't know why he mortgaged. He might have been helping his mom pay for some of the legal fees. Then he sells lots in Weston to Rumpel. The document gives Peter's residence in Davis County, Kansas, a copy. I didn't have a copy of that. And I'm not sure where Davis County in Kansas is, but he apparently, from there on, he apparently spent at least through the 1980 census, I think they had one beyond that, of he and his family residing in some of the townships around Kansas City.
Like Wyandotte County?
Wyandotte County. And the last one, I think it was Wyandotte County. And I lost track of them after that. I didn't find anything in any record. Now, the other question that comes up is, did some of these people that we weren't able to track, did they join the, I doubt that they would have joined in the Revolutionary War, or in the Civil War. They would have doubted, I doubt if they would have joined the Southern Army, because they were pro-slavery. So it's possible that they joined the Union Army, and don't know. I've tried to search military records and see if I could find any records, and I can't find anything. And of course, after Jacob and Philip were released from prison, nothing. No record of any trace of them anywhere. So,
do you have any gut instincts on where they might have gone? Did they have some family peace?
No, I don't know. The only thing I could speculate was this record of Johann Floersch here, and whether that's accurate information or whether these people are actually. It's curious that they dropped the S or the C from the name, just SH instead of SCH. Although I'm not sure if that's because of Joe Floersch's his birth record showed SCH, as his sister told me, and up to that time, everybody in the family had been spelling SH. So whether German pride made them drop that C and just try to disconnect themselves from all this goings on, the scandal that went on in Missouri, I don't know. But anyway.
It's fascinating information.
Floersch.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Approximately
And,
what year?
Michael first had a sod house, as I was told. That's when they used to see Indians come to the door with venison, exchanging it for sugar and flour and cigarettes and tobacco. And Matthew also had settled there. Eventually, he owned land there. As a matter of fact, I think he owned the land where the school is first, where the new school is, and sold it. He moved to Atchison, and then eventually moved to St. Mary's, where his family was raised. There's still a number of his descendants that are out there, and that their sister has died since I was dealing with him back in '99, and he lived down there in south part of Missouri, near the Kansas border, Grandview. Down in the Grandview area, and he ended up marrying a girl from, Tabitha, was from Weston, as far as I know. I didn't have any history of her. Eventually, he built a log house, I'm told, probably from logs from his timberland, and then eventually built the stone house, and the stone for that probably came from the same place as the stone for the St. Joseph Church came from. That church was basically built by parishioners. I don't know how many years it took them to build it. And I mentioned about the school, how it was run by the Benedictine nuns. That church land was on property that had been donated for the church by Michael. He was apparently pretty wealthy as he got along in his older years, raising the family.
How many children did Michael have?
He had 4 from the first wife and 3 from the second wife. And the 4 from the first wife One of them was Francis. One of them was Henry. And one of them was a girl that was intermingled with family from the kids from second, I think. Let me see what I say here. Now, the first children he had, Anna Louise was the girl, and that was Francis, then Henry, then Joseph. Now, Joseph was one that moved to California.
Okay.
There was, I think he was involved in the bank in Manhattan for a while, and might have been one of the officers of the bank. And let's see, Anna married an Umscheid. That Umscheid was another one of the German names, German farmers there in that Rock Creek Valley. And Francis married some Ulrich. I've got an Ulrich. I'm not sure. Somebody seemed correct. Henry is his children were Gerard. Now Gerard got killed in a car accident a good many years ago. Your grandfather could probably tell you more about that. He was on a trip, as I was told. He was on a trip, I think, from Chicago, where he had been out trying to gather family history information, and he was in a car accident, got killed. Now Gerard and let's see, he married Teresa Lonergan. Henry married a Teresa Lonergan when she died, and Joseph married a Mary Donnelly, and they had a couple of children. One of their own apparently adopted son, and Henry Floersch had continued with him. He had Gerard. Clarence is the one that I used to think of as a candy man. He's the one that had the candy factory in his basement, I think. And
is Clarence the one who's connected to O'Toole? Because I was trying to figure out.
Yes. Yeah, I think Clarence. Let me see. Clarence. Okay, here's Clarence. He had a big family. He had two pair of twins. One pair died.
Two sets of
There was
twins.
Donald and Bernice is the one that married. This is Clarence's daughter. She was a twin. She was the one that married Walter Dean, and it's from that couple that the was it Tim Boyle?
Boyle. I just know he's somewhere in the Kansas City area, and he was affiliated with the reunion get-together Weston years ago.
Years ago, he talked about organizing one there around Weston.
I'm trying to track him down, because I think he still lives in the Kansas City area. I can't see him.
I've never heard one way or another whether he's still living. I did have some email exchanges, I think, with him a few years ago. And then there's Ellen. Ellen is the one. She was also a twin. Ellen and Irving. And let's see. Yeah. There's a couple of those kids, I think, that are buried at Flush. And Clarence's dad, Henry, was the one that had that store there at Flush, and he tried to make it post office. He's got his name above or did have. I don't know if that building is still there. It's been there for a while. So
Michael had Joseph, Anna, Francis, Henry.
Michael had four children: Anna Louise, Francis, Henry, and Joseph. That was from his wife Mary Ann Deckett. And he had from the second wife, he had Albert, Mary Louise, who married Joe Bush, and I guess Joe Bush died. She married Jim Mayer after that. And they had four stepchildren, and those stepchildren, Florence were named Florence Bush and Louise Bush, and Josephine Bush and William Bush, and Florence Bush and Louise Bush married brothers, sons of Henry. So if you go from there, you go over to Henry, you see then that Florence and Louise Bush married. They married the Bush sisters were stepdaughters of Mary Floersch Bush, and this has Clarence Bush married to Louise Bush, and let's see, where was the other one? Oh, here. And Louise Floersch married an Umscheid who was a Flush name. Knowing how I get off track, I suspect I'll get off onto that at some point in one of those former slides.
Okay. I'm just thinking
The
what I heard.
thing is, a lot of those slides that are in there for the trial, the handwritten trial stuff, there's no point in even stopping to have that up on display.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of different versions of some of that stuff being, shall I say, translated, not translated, but going through and people making
there's
making their interpretation of what it was. Because
Right.
it's hard to read.
Well,
so
who wrote this? Leo, tell us about Leo Sisberg, because he's done a little research.
Yeah.
He was the one, was he an attorney? Somebody
No,
wrote
I don't think
Leo
so.
Sisberg provided a
I
summary of the evidence.
I'm not sure. I forget what, I think I knew at one time. I forget what his occupation, but I think it was his son. He told me that his son was trying to investigate exactly where Johann Floersch was buried. And he found out, I think he went down to Jefferson City, and he found out that the original burial ground there in Jefferson City was moved. And what used to be the burial ground there in Jefferson City for the prisoners.
In Jefferson City, he died.
Yeah, in the jail in Jefferson City.
Oh, I thought he was temporary.
No, that was temporary. That was while the trial was.
And that's where the boys broke out of prison or
that's
jail.
right.
And then they went and he continued to stay there. And then they sent him to Jefferson City
He was
after the
there for
trial.
that year.
As a matter of fact, the boys went to Jefferson City too. Two of them.
Yeah,
were
all three of them were there.
You can
But
imagine it wasn't very well. He died in January. I was looking at that going, okay, pneumonia.
Probably was winter, no
Yeah.
heat.
oh yeah, prison conditions were terrible. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, treated them like cattle and things.
And he had a
But anyway,
gunshot wound.
Anyway, Sisberg's son went to try to research that. And he found out from whoever he talked to in Jefferson City that property had become, I don't remember if it was a college campus or something. I think it was a public building of some sort. And he had found out that they moved that cemetery elsewhere. And he found out, I think they could tell where it was moved, where the elsewhere was, but some of the records, and I think they numbered the sites for the people that they moved, and that apparently not very good records were kept on which numbered site belonged to John, because when they dug them up, I don't know if they even had them marked. When they buried them, if they died in prison and they were marked and they were buried there, I don't know if they even had them marked with any kind of headstone or anything.
Probably not.
So it looked like it was kind of a lost cause to try to find out where John was buried.
And I think
And now Elizabeth is born in Flush.
they're buried in Flush.
Yeah, in that Flush plot.
How old did she live to be? Do you know? Remember? Interesting to see. I don't want to take you off track, but I just was curious. I mean, she was only 50 years of age, or 52, when the incident happened.
Well, she was 52, and she went to live with Michael. That was probably in 2 years after. John died in 1855, and she sold the land, which would have taken some time, and then Michael had homesteaded in 1854, so that was a year before his dad died, and I would guess that that she was there in Flush living with him probably in 56 or 57. I don't remember my record of when she sold the land. I don't remember what that was, what date that was that she sold it. I don't think it was too long after John died.
I thought it was like he died in January and she sold the property in June. It was
Could be.
spring of that year.
It could be. It's in my summary of land transactions, I think.
Yeah, she sells, Elizabeth sells in June 15th.
June of
To
55.
John Fitz, yeah. You had said that they
1855.
purchased the property like 10 years prior for 800 pieces of
money.
Mm-hmm. And then they sold her for $250. So I don't know what the 800 pieces of money
Well, in that my hand transcription of that transaction when John bought it.
Okay.
I guess it's in this file someplace. See if you bring up that'd be land transaction file.
Okay.
Real estate. That's the RE. SCRE file, records of the real estate. Oh, that's before he left Germany. No, let's see, Missouri land, there. Okay, now scroll through those files here. This is just a summary. Now that was that's where, come back a little. There. This is where I transcribed 800 pieces of money of the value of 93 4/5 each piece.
Wow.
Now, I'm speculating that was German script, probably, that pieces of money was probably German money. And I think my brother Joe and I think we sat down and, 100, if it was 100, it was 93 3/4 each piece. 100 pieces would be 9,375 cents, I guess.
And so she sold a pit for 600. It's just kind of infuriating. I mean, because they buy this chunk of land and then they get railroaded, and then the buddies buy the land back, and we'll take that, but we're only going to pay you a couple $100.
Yeah, well, the lawyers. Well,
like,
the lawyers were pro-slavery too, so probably some under.
Oh yeah.
Now there's some other stuff here that I outlined and talked about what else was included in the transaction. It says 35 containing 160 acres. Well, that's range number 35. Containing 160 acres, and also 4 acres of corn, 2 head of cows, 6 head of hogs, 4 head of sheep, and all the lumber at Martin's sawmill. Apparently there had been some trees taken to a sawmill that hadn't been finished yet, but in the transaction of the guy they bought it from, they got all that other property. And so it seemed to me that my brother Joe and I figured it was in somewhere near $800. It had to be. It was only 93 cents.
And 10 years later, they buy it. 10 years later, they sell for 600.
Well, see, that would probably been the value of the land less everything that the lawyers got, and that's the only equity that was left.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the equity of that land went to lawyers and court costs and all
Will
that.
and Jacob's land, and his brother's land, and the city.
Yeah, but you don't know why Jacob mortgaged the land that he had.
Yeah, and I think it was like, okay,
So
he bought it for $450 and sold it for $50 or something crazy like that.
Well, that's the way those kinds of things work.
Mm.
Yeah, going back to that slide here, this shows Bee Creek wandering around down below there, and that's where I show the approximate location of I think this road down here on the way to, Wilkerson purchased some land in May 1843, which would have been
the spring prior
before John arrived.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably some animosity on John moving in and buying the land next to him. Here this auction block for slaves is going to disappear now. Where are we going to get our slaves? Where are we going to sell them? So you could speculate all kinds of things that are going on in here, but the rest of this is the untranslated stuff that.
And it's interesting right here when you look in the city of Weston. This is the Purtle Winery right here. This black
winery.
Yep, it's the Purtle Winery. I have not been in there.
Still operating?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's an old church that they've renovated, but I'm gonna go in there.
Can you identify where on this map that church is, Trinity Church?
Yeah, sure. Well, see here, let me just finish, like right behind Purtle, that's the Cody house, right behind it.
What is?
Where Buffalo Bill Cody's
that would have been
uncle
block 16.
And then right across was where Jacob had his property. But there's this hill. And it's about right up here. Trinity Church is right up here. If you go to the main, there's like the main street, and you just go, I guess there's a walkway back here that goes
I
the
don't know.
But right on the top of the hill, you can't miss it. But I think it was built in like...
Well, I've got a picture of one that I think was in the time frame when you lived there. I don't remember where it is. The
one that I'm talking about that's built is a beautiful church. It's also it's just a really pretty, quaint, like country church in Weston. I think it was built in like the 1860s.
Is it wood frame or
no, it's stone.
stone?
Really?
Limestone? White.
I took some pictures that I can send to you. And then hopefully we'll put all of these things out on the Dropbox site.
I should, you have Michael's email. You should ask Michael if that website that he created back when he was organizing the lead man on the reunions that we had here in Minneapolis, that he had all this stuff that he put up. Email him and find out if he still has, if that website still exists or whether what he's done to take it down.
Yeah, we'll see. We can maybe add to it and use it for the future.
Yeah.
Because it's out there somewhere, I just couldn't find it. Well, thank you. Is there anything, any last words?
Huh?
Are we still rolling?
Still rolling.
This will make it easier. We'll bring this to the next reunion, and then you can do some Q&A at the end. So people want to talk about some things.
Okay, you just going to play this?
Yeah.
I don't have to get up. You can just play this.
Yep.
Good. Okay.
And at the end, you can do Q&A.
We'll probably stop it as we go, and then people.
I'll be available. Yeah, I'll be available. People. And I'll probably bring my book with me if anybody has questions when we don't have any